Now, coming back home this weekend is the final day, registration drive for 2019. The Independent Electoral Commission, or the IEC, says it's hoping that South Africans will register in their droves, especially young people. The IEC are somewhat concerned that only a small portion of registered voters in KwaZulu-Natal, for example, are first-time voters. For its part, Home Affairs is concerned that many uncollected IDs are collecting dust in Home Affairs offices across the country. To discuss, we're joined by IEC Chief Electoral Officer Mamabolo, also the Acting Director General at the Department of Home Affairs, Thulani Mavuso. Thank you for being with us, gentlemen. Mr. Mamabolo, what's the importance of this final push?
Well, it says to the country that we are well ahead, full steam in preparing for election 2019. So the registration weekend is an important input into the preparations for the elections, because we are coming to 22,900 voting stations. We are very close to where communities live, so it's a unique opportunity for people to come, firstly ensure that they are registered if they are not registered, and secondly, for those that are registered, to provide their addresses, because that has become an important currency in the voters' roll.
For your part, you're concerned about these ID books not being collected, so you can't register and you can't vote. I guess that's the message.
Yeah, no, definitely that is the case. That is why we're saying that those who have applied for documents must actually visit our offices to be able to collect. But we have a lot of people also who find that during the registration day, they've either misplaced or lost their IDs. So we do issue the temporary, certificates, ID certificates that they can get on the spot, just to enable them to register. Then they can apply for their documents, ensuring that by the time the election day comes, that document would have actually been applied for and returned to their hands.
Well, how efficient are you right now? You're saying they can do that. Could people do it right now before Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, no, what I'm saying that on Saturday and Sunday, we are open for people to collect those that have applied, but also we are open for those who have lost or misplaced their IDs, so that they get the temporary ID certificate on the spot, and at the same time apply for the permanent what we call smart card, which they will get prior to the elections. Look, the turnaround time is quite quicker now. We do it within a week. People get their documents, but it also depends on the data of the person. Where the fingerprints, we normally say where the fingerprints are green, it's easy to take it to print immediately. But if obviously there's amber, it goes to the back office. We make some verifications in order for us to be able to.
How do you get green fingerprints?
Well, on the system where there's no hit to say go and do verification of the fingerprint, because sure, remember the minutiae on the fingerprint, as you get older, it changes. You would find that what the fingerprint you have now no longer 100% match with the fingerprint that you have on the system. That is why we talk about green and amber. It's just a caution so that we do not issue an ID to a wrong person.
Very interesting. Okay, so the point is you can do it on the spot, you can do it on the day, so this won't hamper people who really want to register.
Definitely. The temporary ID certificate, we get it on the spot, and then we apply for the permanent one. But also we've been running quite a few campaigns now. I mean, tonight Orlando Pirates is playing Baroka FC. We've got big billboards that we are actually advertising to people to come and collect their IDs. We are running a few ads on radio, on social media. So there's quite a huge drive for us to be able to educate citizens. Gauteng is one of the provinces that has got the highest number of people with uncollected IDs. We're sitting at about 80,000 last week. So we really called on citizens of Gauteng, the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal in particular, because those areas that have got higher number of IDs that have not been collected.
All right, and I'll ask you later how many there are. But right now, Mr. Mamabolo, for people who are just starting to vote, maybe this is their first time, explain why they need to register first. What's the importance of this?
Well, registration is demanded in terms of the Constitution, because an election must be based on a voter's roll. And the voter's roll serves a number of purposes. Firstly, to avoid double voting. So it goes to the heart of free and fair elections. But secondly, it assists political parties for campaign purposes. And at the functional level, it's important to the extent that we use that to plan our logistics. For instance, if there are 3,500 voters registered at a particular station. We know what is the level of logistical provisioning we'll have to make in order to accommodate everybody at that voting station. So there are both constitutional as well as logistical reasons why a voter's roll is important.
Is it still the case that you can vote anywhere in terms of national? But when it comes to provincial and regional, your specific residence counts and your specific venue where you've registered at?
It is correct, but I think we need to caution the following as the Commission, that it is best for people to vote where they are registered. It facilitates the voting process quickly and so on, because if you vote in a voting station at which you are not registered, there are additional administrative procedures that must be undertaken, like completing a sworn statement and so on. So that does increase the amount of time you spend in a voting station. Yet you are also right when you say if you vote in the province in which you are registered, you'll get both ballots, national and provincial. But if you vote outside of the province in which you are registered, you will only get the national ballot.
Okay, so you can still at least vote nationally, but you're adding time and you're cutting out a lot, and you're not helping the smooth election running that we need. Have you seen increased volumes? Because we're going to talk about young people maybe not caring about politics, but have you seen people coming into Home Affairs trying to get those ID documents because they do care?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, between the 2nd of January and the 11th, when we were operating 7 to 7, we saw a number of young people actually were coming through. Obviously, there's various factors that drive young people to come to our offices to get IDs. Those who are turning 16, either because they are preparing to write their matric or either because they are preparing to enroll at universities. So I think we also, while we're doing that, we're trying to obviously encourage them also to register to vote. That's why even in our offices, we've got those pamphlets that talk to the issues of registration, because I think we have a duty, as a department, to be able to participate and also help IEC in order for us to promote democracy and ensure that people do register to vote.
But how many have not been picked up? You said there are a few provinces you're concerned about.
No, the provinces that we're concerned about in terms of the ID applications. Well, the provinces like the Northern Cape, the numbers are very low. So we have asked, obviously, the provincial managers of Home Affairs, they're actually going through local radio stations and ensuring that they encourage young people to come and enroll their IDs in order for them to be able to register to vote. So we're really running a strong campaign. We hope that they will come and participate in this democratic process.
And a lot of these drives targeting young people. We'll talk about that. But earlier we asked you if you are registering, if you're taking part and taking this seriously. Let's take a listen to what some of you have had to say.
From Bushbuck region in Mpumalanga. Well, I've already registered to vote. I did it last year. All I'm waiting for now is for election day. I've registered because I still believe there's still hope for a better South Africa for all of us. So that's why I've registered and I'm waiting for election day. Thank you.
I'm not ready to vote. This is Chandoko from Thando. I'm not yet ready to register to vote because my vote has not been making a change ever since. Even though we were to vote a different political party to come in, they will just follow in the same footsteps. I'm also of the view that if things were to change, ANC-led government has to give way for other political parties.
Well, let's pick up right there. Mr. Mamabolo, what is your message to young people if you're concerned about their registration, them not voting? They're looking at the State Capture Commission, maybe disillusioned by politics. Do you have a message for them?
Look, democracy demands the participation of everybody. It becomes vibrant if there's a big cross-section of citizens of the country involved in deciding the political direction of the country. Now, an election offers everybody who's 18 years and above the possibility to influence both the economic, social, and importantly, political direction of the country. So for whatever reason, if you intend not to vote, excuse me, you are missing out on an opportunity to at least influence the direction of the country. But remember that an election offers us to mediate our own different preferences, because it's not only your view that is paramount, everybody's view is paramount. That's why there has to be an election. That's why an election is decided on numbers, because we've got to ensure that we hear the biggest number of people in the country. The solution is not staying away. The solution to the problems that the country is facing is actually taking part and ensuring that your voice gets to bear on the political direction of the country.
So hopefully young people here, because you're worried about that, what percentage of eligible young voters are not yet registered?
In terms of the 18, 19-year-old category, we are at 16%. But I think it's important that we contextualize that number.
That sounds very low, 16%.
Indeed,
sure.
16%. But you and I have had numerous opportunities to enlist on the voters' roll. We may have registered and re-registered in different places if we moved houses yet. These 18 and 19-year-olds, they're only qualifying now. They've never had an opportunity before to be on the voters' roll. So I think the message is not one of condemnation, but our message is of cajoling them, persuading them, making them realize that their country needs them, to the extent that they need to shape the political future of the country. I don't think young people are necessarily apathetic. They just have not had the same opportunities that many of us have had to enlist on the voters' roll.
And it's a new experience, and they have to hear about it, and you say you're targeting the Pirates game to reach those young people. Finally, I'm sure for both of you, for Home Affairs as well, knowing the actual election date is very important to prepare. When will we know?
Well, the president, obviously, at the right time will make the decision when the election is going to take place. And obviously, part of our responsibility as Department of Home Affairs is that once the president made an announcement, obviously, because we manage the Holidays Act, we'll then make proper preparations to ensure that that particular day is declared as a public holiday. Once the president has made the announcement, we are all waiting in anticipation. But we are ready in terms of ensuring that the legal process.
But we know he has said it's in May, correct? Somewhere in May. We're expecting.
Well, I wouldn't want to preempt that, but obviously it will definitely not be February or March. So we do expect that anything between April and May, that date will be determined.
All right. Thank you very much, both, for coming in this evening. That was Acting DG of Home Affairs, Thulani Mavuso, and Mamabolo, the IEC Chief Electoral Officer.